Everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest, one of the greatest bodybuilders of this generation or any other, a man of many, many talents. We're going to talk about some of those today. Please welcome all the way from Florida in the United States of America, Kai Greene. What's up,
What's
Kai?
good? What's good?
Good, good, good. I think of you often, but especially as we come around to Arnold Classic time, because you've won three U.S. Arnold Classics and I think three or four outside the U.S. Maybe I'm even lowballing that. Do you know?
Yeah, we've actually had some really good runs with the Arnold Classic, actually.
Yeah, and it was the last time we saw you on stage was spring of 2016. You won the Arnold Classic, and then I think you went off and won three other Arnold Classics around the world. Was it three, two or three? It was a couple. See, I'm getting old. I'm getting old, and my memory's a little hazy. But
Uh-oh.
yeah, so that was the last time we saw you. So before we catch up, I have to start with the question. Everyone's going to crucify me if I do not ask you. Do you plan on ever competing again? And if you don't know the answer, you could say, I don't know. But everyone wants to know because I want to know, man. You still look phenomenal, Kai.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. You know, I would never want to say never. I never officially retired, and you never know. You never know. This is a new year. 2023 is certainly something to be excited about. And I guess the best thing I can say is, you just can't count the guy out. You never know.
I would never count you out. So I asked you this at the Olympia, but it was so crowded and noisy. I don't even know what you said in response. This Masters Olympia is coming up. I know you always wanted to win the Mr. Olympia. Would you consider winning the Masters Olympia on par with that? Would that be enough to possibly entice you? Because I'm thinking about you have to be 45 years old for this. I'm thinking who is 45 years old or older that could come in and win this thing? And you were at the tip top of that list with a bullet. Ty Greene would destroy that show if he went and did it.
Wow.
Have you thought
Wow.
about it?
Wow. Well, honestly, man, I can't even imagine being that age. So
Well, I mean, your age has always been in dispute, but I believe most records indicate you were born in 1975.
wow. Wow. That would make me older than I'd care to say at this time.
I mean, you're all young to me. I'll be 54 this year, Kai. So you're a young guy to me, but
Wow.
you're
God, you know what?
still, yeah. You've got to be. If you do the math of when you were competing in the WNBF as a teenager,
Wow.
you've got to be at least. You have to be at least 45 by now, unless you were like 12 years old winning pro natural shows.
Man, you know what? There's something to be said for being pro natural.
Sure, you were a great natural pro. You were a kid, man. You were like 18 years old up there with 40-year-old guys duking it out.
I was very, 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 very fortunate to have had some really, really, really awesome, inspired help along the way. All those years, all those many years before, and now I'm in a good place, and I think anybody that is aspiring to do well
Yeah.
can,
So
do themselves a very big credit by just like not focusing on what you don't have and spend a lot more time making good use of the things that you do. You might actually become very surprised at what you'd be able to accomplish. And I certainly have been able to experience that in my career.
yeah. So I wanted to really do this video to catch people up on what you've been doing because everyone sees on your Instagram you still train hard all the time. You still have that love and passion for training. Obviously, you still eat like a bodybuilder. You still look. I think you corrected me because I said you still look just as good as you ever did, and I think you corrected me because maybe in your mind you're only like 90% of what you were at your best. But I mean, considering you haven't competed in 7 years, you're still so very close to that physique that a lot of us. I always thought you were going to win an Olympia.
Oh, you're
There's
very
these
kind.
names. You've been added to that list of people in my Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone, Sean Ray, and Kai Greene. Those are the people I always thought would win an Olympia. I said, if you had told me they would never win, I would say, you're completely wrong. I promise you, this guy's going to win Olympia before it's all said and done. You were that good. I mean, you
Oh,
lost the Olympia by like a hair a couple of times. It was ridiculous. It's a flip of a coin. Unfortunately, the coin didn't go. So I guess my whole point with that is you still have that passion and love for bodybuilding because a lot of guys when they retire, they lose their interest in it. And clearly, training is something you've loved to do since you were like what 7, 8 years old. You were making your own weights at home and doing your own little workouts. And here we are, decades later, and you're still at it every day. It looks like. Yeah. So I guess that's my first question: is do you still feel that same love and passion for the training aspect of bodybuilding?
Absolutely. I think that there's a lot to be said for the ability to I guess to develop your inner voice, to develop your ability to pay attention to that inner voice, and to hear it speak to you regularly, and learn how to hear it or how to listen for it. I think sometimes while training, the solitude actually gives you the the requirements necessary to kind of get the opportunity to hone in and listen into that internal voice. While you somebody says, "Hey, I'm doing cardio for 45 minutes in the morning," and it's like, okay, well, while you're doing that cardio, whether it's HIIT, whether it's whatever, when there's a moment, or those built-in moments while doing it, that you're able to get in touch with your breathing, and through your breathing make connection with your your larger self. Why are you doing this? What's important to you? So I think that every day that I exercise, every day that I train, whether it's just cardio in the morning, or going through the process of doing the things that is the training, or represents the training that's important to me, there within that is the opportunity to develop and continue to maintain a working relationship with that voice.
Yeah. So a lot of guys who have retired from competition, and even if they still keep up the training and everything, they do say that it affords them a lot more time to focus on other things that they're interested in, that they're talented in. And you have to be the prime example of that, because I imagine in those years you were competing, you've always been an artist, but I don't think you were able to put as much focus and time and effort into it. And now I don't know how many people realize this. You are an incredible artist. You've been at Comic-Con many times. You had a graphic novel called The Chronicles of King Kai. We're looking behind you at something. I don't know what that is exactly, but you'll explain it to me. But first of all, have you had a lot more time in these past few years since you walked away from the stage to really develop your true talents as an artist?
Well, you know what? Yeah, I would imagine so. It's important to me to continue to develop. I guess you know more than anything. I think more than a body, you're a conscious mind that is capable of, like, just seeing itself expressed on any platform that you choose to expose yourself to. I think one of the things that has become a really interesting platform for my development. I think that I've had a relationship with for the entirety of my life so far is the artistic mind. I love to draw, to sculpt, to paint. And I think even my career as an athlete on stage was, an expression of that artistic and creative mind, developing my body. So that said, yeah, man, I'm very, very happy. We definitely have gotten a chance to do a lot of things with Chronicle of King Kai. We got a chance to do a really, really awesome documentary that we've gotten a chance to promote, and we are still promoting now. It's called Kai. I'm very, very excited about that. Got a chance to work again with Vlad R. Uden and Generation Iron, and just some really awesome heavy hitters in that area of things to do. And then technically right now I have just a really amazing relationship with one of my sponsors. Friend of mine, and business partner in the past. We've been able to do something awesome with Redcon One, and right now, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that we're very, very excited about with Redcon. And one of the things that I'm really, really happy about is having the opportunity, as you said, to work on my art and to work on my storytelling. And I have a character that is something that I've been like pitching to Aaron. he brought me to his office one day and he showed me this really awesome blade that I thought was amazing. He said it was actually made for him. He had it put in a case. This blade, if there were ever a time where you've ever heard of the story that of the feud between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, you had the Rambo knife versus the Commando knife. I remember watching this video over and over and over again, where Arnold is, kind of poking fun at Sylvester Stallone with the size of his Commando knife. And while I was in Aaron's office one day, I remember he had showed me this blade that he had put into a special case and mounted on the wall. It was awesome. It was heavy as hell. It was probably as heavy as the Arnold Classic Trophy. It's just an amazing blade. And I remember thinking, well, damn, Arnold, Commando, you had the Sylvester Stallone Rambo knife. And then it was like, wow, if I had my way, and I created a character, his name would be, Kate Savage. And you know what? Kate Savage would actually he'd have a blade that would rival both of theirs, and so I said, actually, he would have two blades, and they would be at the heel of his. Let me go ahead. Why don't I just show it to you? And that's what I did. So basically, I spent the next few months while I was actually out in Florida designing my K Savage, right? And I remember we had a number of filming opportunities to do with Redcon One Studios that existed at the time, where we were like, okay, we're going to come in with these really cool concepts that will become campaigns, obviously, to do other things with as far as marketing the company and the brand. But if anybody has ideas that they'd like to be able to shop, now's the time to do it. I was like, well, I obviously want to I want to go further with my K Savage. He was like, well, let's see what you're talking about. Funny thing is, when you're in a creative meeting with someone that's going to actually direct the project, and someone that's going to be filming the project, and someone that's going to be working on sound for project, you have to have a blueprint that brings everybody on the same page. You have to have a proof of concept. You can't walk in there and just say, hey, well, I have an idea in my head and it looks like this, it's colored like that, but it still leaves too much up for grabs for anyone else, to interpret what you mean.
Right.
So I learned the hard way, the first 6 months of being out there, that, what, I'm going to need to come up with a more concrete way to share my idea with the team, and also with my pitch to Aaron on what my vision was with this. So fast forward, I had to answer a lot of questions. I started doing a lot more drawing. And to go back to the first question that you asked me, yes, as a result of maybe not being as focused as on the idea of competing, has it freed you to do other things and to focus on the development of other things? Yes, it has. But I still train. Yeah, I still train very aggressively and very regularly. But yes, we got some really cool stuff to answer the question of, well, what is your idea, Kai? I've gotten the chance to put together some drawings that became some sketches, that became some, more concrete pieces of artwork to represent some of the things that I think will take shape in the coming months as I continue to work with Redcon. I think there's some cool ideas, but now, more importantly, they'll get a chance to see them.
So what is that? What's that we're looking at behind you? That looks incredible.
Oh yeah, this is this is actually, well, you know what? It's my man K Savage, but before it goes there, it starts here, right?
Sketchbook.
We've got here, and then you got, let me see, this I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah.
That is, those things become something like this. And these are quick, but they're not really quick. They take time to do, obviously. And more stuff here. So these are these roughs, right? These are these roughs, and they all start rough, right?
Yeah.
And then they evolve to this, right?
Wow.
And let's see. Now we're gonna go back here. And put these up because now I got these back from the printer recently. I got them worked up a little bit, and I was able to even have these laminated. Move this off. Maybe I should do this like this. So,
Wow, look at that.
so this is what, remember that blade I was telling you about? So K Savage has 2 blades. This guy is no joke. He's better than the Predator.
Oh man,
He'll kill a planet of predators. Even Wolverine can't fuck with my man. I mean, you know, I had a relationship with the Predator, so my artwork does represent that a little bit.
yeah.
But all brought to you by Redcon One. You know what I'm saying? I am Redcon One. K Savage is a new character that I am really, really excited about. And I've spent like the last these
Are these all mock-ups of like covers for comic books or graphic novels?
You know what? They are. They are. I've prepared a bunch of one of the things I'm really excited about trying to do in muscular development would be like the opportunity to take like three pages and create a short story narrative that's a sequential art. I'd fuel it all with my original artwork that would actually serve as a storyboard and reveal the storytelling universe of my character. In this case, this character would be K Savage, and I'm trying to do that exclusively with Redcon One. I think this guy is this is the right fit for that. And I got a chance to get into like doing some 3D printing. So I've been printing some of these design ideas and get a chance to see what they look like and so this is am I blocking that?
No, now I can finally see the blade a little better in 3D.
Yeah. Did you see it? Did you see it? Yeah, man. It's no joke, man. It's no joke, man.
It's like some sort of gun with a blade on the bottom.
Yeah, man. Yes, the dude is crazy. I love it. You gotta love this character. I mean, I'm excited about all my characters when I work on them, but this is I'm like Santa Claus over here, and Stan Lee all rolled up into.
Well, I'm just curious. You know, so many bodybuilders I've talked to, they were very much into superhero comics. A lot of them would draw. A lot of them were artistic. You'd be surprised at how many of them were actually artists themselves. What were some of the comics or graphic novels that really inspired you with their artwork, their storytelling?
Oh man, well, comics that inspired me. Oh well, I mean, everybody knows about Todd McFarlane and Spider-Man. I mean, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko. I mean, like, I think the same thing that happened for me within competitive bodybuilding. I think when you get excited about the thing that you identify means a lot to you, I think when you start to look at examples that are going to help, you move forward in the continued development of how you see yourself moving in that space, doing that thing and becoming more successful at it. I think everybody that has experienced success to a level where they're in the spotlight, I think their achievement becomes something that's important to you because I feel like it becomes like it's.
So, Kai, a lot of us didn't get our first exposure to muscular physiques in bodybuilding magazines because we were kids. I saw comic books and the muscularity of characters like Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, the Hulk, on and on and on. And that's where in my little child brain, I started formulating the goal possibly of someday, somehow having a physique like that. Was that a similar case with you? Were you first inspired towards crafting and sculpting your body from seeing those images in comics rather than bodybuilding magazines?
I think it was a combination of yeah. I guess what little kid doesn't see themselves as being, doesn't find themselves as being inspired by seeing a strong character or a hero character that they're watching in a cartoon or something like that, and inspired to think about strength. I don't know how it actually comes. I think it may, um, yeah, I don't know. I think comic books and bodybuilding magazines. I think comic books come before bodybuilding magazines. I think if you think about how a person is socialized, before I can, like before you can walk, you have to crawl. And I think one of the things that is most appealing, I would imagine, about like comic books or cartoons or those things, they're designed to cater to those younger audiences to begin with, whether through the flashy colors, the interesting done fonts, or the appeal um, to some of the interests that would automatically, spark something in a little kid's mind. I think comic books and cartoons, I think those are the things that probably would be the first thing naturally you get a chance to see before you kind of evolve enough to be able to read and also like appreciate what you would see in a bodybuilding magazine with any understanding of what that is in the magazine. So I think, yeah, to answer your question, I think, yeah, the inspiration, I think, is probably first at first glance viewed through the cartoon, the comic books. I think those are the things that kids will see. So I think I more than likely was exposed to that. I think the Popeye, that stuff. But I think as that appetite and awareness evolves, I think the next stepping stone would naturally, become a comic. I mean, um, magazines. Muscle magazines were certainly. I think they just still represent like the highest evolution of that to me. If you loved looking at the comics and you loved, seeing extremely developed physiques, doing things that were interesting as they hopped across the comic book page, that is still many levels beneath, I think the zenith point that you would reach when you think about going from a fictional place and seeing it and observing it and understanding that is, well, that's make believe. That's not real, and then to see an extremely muscular physique, in a muscular development magazine, whenever it is that you first come into contact with it as a child, as an adult, the idea of it being real. This is a real photo of a real person, a real being. Yeah. The ability to do something that is impossible or thought to be impossible. At least I thought it was impossible until I saw it. This is a real photograph. You mean there's somebody in life that really looks like this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, shit, I want to look like that too. Let me find out more information about this person. Okay, I'll read this magazine. I'll read this article. Hey, you got any more? Where can I buy this? I think that's kind of, and I think that's the reason why the magazines exist, because they know that that naturally is the walk. I think that's the walk. So yeah, I saw the comics, I saw the cartoons, I'm sure, as a kid. But yeah, I think it all took a different meaning when you got a chance to see that there were people that actually did look like this in real life. For me, that's exactly what happened. I remember seeing a movie, and I saw this guy in this movie. I was in a classroom when I was locked up in an institutional facility, and I'm thinking, wow, oh, that's that guy, But this was another movie. I saw him in another movie. This dude was in a movie. The movie at the time was called Pumping Iron. Like that guy, though, I saw him in another movie. He was the star of this other movie. He was like, dude picked up the building and he saved the chick, and it was like, yo, he was jacked. Yeah. I want to look like that. I want to do that. What you say? Wait. So when I saw the movie Pumping Iron, I realized, wait, you're telling me that guy came from a world that existed where all these people, aspire to look like that, and there's a magazine that'll cover that and show me, well, in that magazine, every day is a sunny day and everybody looks like they're tearing out of, muscular development magazines or Marvel comic X-Men, feature presentation. Well, shit, I want that. How do I get that? How can I go to that world and do what he did and become that? And that is exactly what happened for me. I did just that. I found that world. It was a world called competitive bodybuilding, and I found the stages that, ultimately, if you were able to get there, then that was proof positive that you could possibly also get to the other places that you wanted to get to, that were so appealing to you, when I was locked up in that institutional facility. So I say this to say that, yeah, man, I think to look at a photograph or a comic book or whatever of an extreme anything is a way of entertaining a possibility that allows you to recognize your own limitless possibilities, if so inspired, and if inclined to work so hard. If you work enough, you can go to that place, that goes beyond the place where you are, wherever that is, and you can find that place where the sun is always shining. There's never a rainy day, and everybody looks like they have torn out of a Muscular Development magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because the physique that you built was not, it didn't exist when I was a kid looking at those comics. I was looking at the Wolverine and the Spider-Man and the Hulk, and human beings, even Arnold, the people of that era, they didn't have that level of development. It was just, I didn't think human beings could ever look like that. And
Right.
then, fast forward to years later, and you brought that to the stage, a look that years ago people said no, that a human couldn't look like that. Only an artist could draw something like that. It's too muscular, it's too perfect. A human couldn't do that. But you've shown it. Now there's a whole other generation of kids who have higher expectations of what could possibly be attainable, because things evolve and change. And you and a couple of your peers, you set these brand new standards where human beings can look like Marvel comic characters. Not many of them, obviously. You have to be a genetically gifted human being, but those full round muscle bellies, those little tiny joints, things that previously would have thought only an artist could come up with that in their brain. And now, you've brought that into reality. You and some other guys like Phil Heath. It's just it's a great. It's astonishing to see that happen in my lifetime.
I hate that guy.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring him up and upset you.
Wow.
But I got to give
Wow.
you credit because you guys were both. You were the best of that era. You two were just phenomenal. You both ushered in an entirely new standard, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Got to give the guy a little credit, Kai. Come on.
Well, I mean, you know what? It's one thing I will not do. I do
Okay.
not take any credit away from the man, the athlete, I mean, his accomplishments speak for himself. I
Yeah.
mean, I there's no way I can even rationally think myself intelligent to try to discredit that. Yeah, the dude he's an amazing competitor, and he's accomplished a tremendous amount of things that I think a lot of athletes would only look up to. So yeah, I definitely
Yeah. And those.
nothing but respect.
Yeah.
Nothing but respect.
And
But if he get on stage with me anytime again, I don't know about all of that.
Yeah, well, those are the Olympia is always a great show, but it hasn't been super thrilling since we had the rivalry between you and Phil. Those years were amazing because we'd be biting our nails watching the judging and all, who's going to win, who's back and forth. Those were some, that's probably the best rivalries of our lifetime. In the history of the Mr. Olympia, I would say Arnold and Franco, Ronnie and Jay, and Kai and Phil. That's it. Those three. That's it. In 40 plus years of a contest. So
Well,
50
I
years
am
now.
honored. I
I'm
am
saying 50
deeply
years. Yeah, geez. 60 years. What am I saying? 65? Yeah, that show's almost 60 years old now.
right
And
because
yeah,
you had Steve Reeves was like the black and white era at its like. I don't think you can get any more black and white photographs than that. That was like,
1948. Yeah. Way back.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's damn,
Hmm.
damn. So yeah, I mean, yeah. Hmm.
Well, anyway, I'm putting you on the spot there. Sorry about that. But so anyway, I just want to wrap it up by saying, man, selfishly, the fans, and I'm a fan, I'd love to see you on stage one time, but If we don't, I want to thank you for all the amazing memories and experiences that you gave us. You were so unique, so special. You brought something to the sport that we had never seen before, we're never going to see again. So thank you for that. And now you're continuing to bless us in another aspect with this art career, this art, the comics and all this. If you never get on stage again, that's fine, because you're doing this. This is something that a whole other generation can be introduced to and enjoy. So I really look forward to more and more of your artwork.
Wow, that is like, man, listen, that is not one of the things that I want to say. I
Oh,
am not. I am not retired. I am not in any way
I said if.
yeah, that whole idea of like, well, yeah, you've moved on and I think you're supposed to progressively move forward, with the development that is important to you and you're willing to realize. I don't think that I think that I'm supposed to be aspiring to do more and to expand and to aim to be even more successful. I think that um the size of my vision though is the thing that is really what's on display. I think a lot of times earlier in my career, um the size of my vision was huge, I think, and it had to be in order to propel me in a direction to grow from a very humble beginning where I started to the higher heights of what I believe are noteworthy and speak now to my credit.
Yeah.
But with saying that, it's the size of the vision, not the size of my back. And I think earlier times in my career, and a lot of the fan experience is constantly focused on the misinterpretation of what's really happening when they see an athlete on stage. The athlete, with the great back, you know, is more to the credit of the size of his vision, which is what leads him to do the work, which allows him to discover what his genetic capabilities or anything can be. There are people with exceptional genetics that, due to a lack of ambition or sometimes even just, the lack of being able to see and want, that thing that is a representation of an idea that is so far advanced, for what they could see. They say, well, I'm not going to do any of that work because I don't believe that would, you know, make any return that I can depend on. Whereas somebody else would say, hey, well, you know what? I don't know what my genetics are. I'm gonna find out, but I'm gonna do it while I'm aiming to do like the most extreme level of success at this game that is possible. I just think that yeah, on the other side of that, yeah, man, we're still challenging ourselves. We're still working. We're still realizing through having this very big vision, a bold vision, that allows you to, identify your promise or see your promise revealed to you. Sometimes your vision needs to be so big that, yeah, you can't see a way to kind of get to it. Like, damn, I don't shit. A lot of times you see somebody say, well, are you getting ready for a show? And they'll say, oh no, I'm not going to start getting ready. I'm not going to compete yet. I'm going to wait until I look like Darian did when he was competing at the Olympia, his second title defense. And then I'll decide to start getting ready. And it's like, well, that's because that to them is what what it means to be a successful bodybuilder. It's like, nah, man, Darian didn't look like that, when he started. Part of the process, is to build. Like, this is bodybuilding. You're supposed to be identifying yourself as willing to evolve and capable of evolving. And aiming to be better. Like, yeah, so it's not body maintenance. That's what Oscar used to say when I was a kid. It's not body maintenance. He used to say that all the time. And he was right. Yeah, yeah. There's so much you could say about that because there's a life lesson built into everything that we do, and I guess I'm not trying to be philosophical, but I don't see how you can exist in this game and experience of personal development as an athlete and then seeing yourself into the way of developing any of the other things that are important to you without having to come to terms with that thing. Well, what am I? Who am I? Why is it important to me to do well? Why am I not willing to accept, being comfortable with an end result that is less than what I desired? Like, there, I've heard people say, "Hey, Kai, you're humble." I don't know if humble is the right word. I think sometimes diplomacy is better when it's not realized. Oh no, he's just a cool guy, but no, he's probably possibly very diplomatic. Because if he did give you a chance to see what his, hey man, I aspire to be the best at this thing. Hey man, before I turn in this drawing, I'm really going to sit at this thing for like 17 hours, and I'm going to like go over it again and again and again, and then I probably might have to just throw it away and then redo it, and then, um, at the helm of my own experience, if I saw myself as even like a comic book company or a publisher to, working with publishing beyond that, man, I would see myself just holding yourself to a higher standard, and as a result, recognizing that you got to be willing to do a lot of work. Geez whiz, this is like, yes,
Cool.
yes, doing the work.
Cool. Well, guys, follow Kai on his Instagram and his YouTube. You have a YouTube channel, right, Kai Greene?
Yes, sir.
And of course, on the Redcon One YouTube channel, we'll have the links to all that in the description, because I definitely want to follow along on this character and this see how it all progresses over the next few months. I'm very, very excited about that. It looks pretty darn cool, I got to tell you, because I'm still a comic nerd, not as big as Giles. Giles could talk comics with you all day, but I still have a love for it. I was a comic book nerd when I was a kid.
What
So
did you read?
I read mostly horror comics from EC. I love that stuff because I was a horror junkie from like age 4. So like House of Mystery, Tales from the Crypt. I wasn't as much in the superheroes. I would flip through them, but I like Swamp Thing. I think there was a Conan comic for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, all that
Savage
stuff.
Sword or Savage Sword was the black and white.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one. But yeah, anyone who didn't go through that whole comic phase, I really feel sad that they missed out. Comics are some of the greatest works of art in this world, as far as I'm concerned.
It's funny because you meet a lot of I meet a lot of people now that would identify as you have would identify themselves as you have, and you find them later on in their life, and they are successful writers and scientists and doctors and people that are um, of note that have done things. I would imagine that if you weren't working with an active imagination or an active opportunity to think yourself into realistically seeing more things, I think it just kind of wouldn't happen. Like I don't know. I'm struggling to say what I want to say in this moment. I'm probably going to find myself later on able to say it a lot better and a
That's
lot
how I
clearer.
am.
But there is, the kids that I remember seeing when I was a kid that were the best readers and usually, were kind of set up to do things later on in their life that technically, um, wow, I just had a brain fart, but
Well, I think it just opens up your brain to a lot of new possibilities, just a whole new
yeah,
sensibility of what's possible. It
yes,
opens up the creative side, that side of
absolutely
the brain, which people think, well, a doctor or a lawyer wouldn't need that. You're wrong. I think being creative can help you in any aspect in life, no matter what you end up doing.
yeah,
Because sometimes you might have to find solutions to problems that are outside the box. And if you don't have that type of creative thinking, it's never going to occur to you.
that's
Anything
right.
that's standard. Anyway, it's been great catching up, Kai. We'll talk a little bit about K Savage because I want to hear more. But for now, guys, thanks for watching Ronline Report with this man, the one and only Kai Greene. See you next time.
Yeah.
Hey, did you like that podcast? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.